Welcome to Stroke, the Art of Mental Stimulation podcast. I am happy to have you guys here with me today. Of course, you have D-Love on the mic with you today, and you already know how we do it, man. We keep it really raw, honest, transparent. I don't hold back. What you hear is what you get. You know, transparency at its finest. This is the real human experience. I touch on subjects that we go through in everyday life, and I hit them from a healing and spiritual perspective. You know, I'm trying to let you guys know that you aren't alone, that everybody's dealing with these same things. And I like to get right inside of that experience, like right inside of it, what it really feels like as we are going through it. You know, we may talk about some topics of, you know, things that get us to the highest versions of ourselves, the best versions of ourselves. You know, we might talk about anything on this podcast. You already know. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already done so. You know, analytics and everything help me out with that. But of course, you already know what's about to happen to you. If you don't know, you heard about it. All right, it's time to get stroked up. Happy Tuesday, everyone. You guys know I always look forward to being on here with you guys. You guys, this is my safe space as well. You know, I try to make it a space for everybody to come in here. You feel good, you feel great, you feel seen, you feel loved. And y'all do the same thing for me. This is my space, man. I like to get on here with you guys. Of course, make sure you jump on these longer episodes on every other Tuesday bi-weekly, and you know that Vibe for Five Friday is every Friday. If you listen to the past Vibe for Five Friday, you will notice that we kind of foreshadowed this episode right here. It is Mental Health Awareness Month. So, of course, this month we're going to be diving in extra hard with mental health awareness. Most of our topics usually always dive into that some type of way anyway, since we touch everything from that healing and spiritual perspective, man. But I'm happy to be here with you guys today. And I want to start by saying, to anyone who may be dealing with issues, going on within your brain, chemical imbalances, all that other stuff that's going on, I want you to know that it's not your fault. It is not your fault. I want you to know you're seen. I want you to know that you're loved. And I want you to know that you do not have to go at it alone. There are resources out there. There's help. There's communities. There's people like the people that's on here listening right now. We're here for you. You're it, man. You're it. That's normal. I know sometimes you feel like, who am I? Why does this have to be me? But a lot of people don't realize that things that go on within our brains and, mental health, it's normal. Most people on this earth are dealing with some type of mental health issue, whether diagnosed or undiagnosed. Most people probably undiagnosed walking around. You realize something's wrong. You realize something's not quite right. You wonder why you just can't shake back from certain situations. But, you never went to go seek help. So, we've been trying to do our job in these past years of normalizing that. I think everyone has been doing a great job, but we could do better. We could do better, man. Everyone has been doing a great job. I hear a lot more people talking about they're going to see their therapist. I go see mine every Monday, so, there's no shame in that. There's no shame in seeking help, just like as you do when it comes to physical health. There's no shame in getting help when it comes to your mind, coming to the mental. I was sitting back and I was thinking, we have an annual physical that, they say that we should go get. They always say, every year, did you get your annual? I get notifications from my doctors. Hey, it's time for your annual. It's time for your annual. And I always wondered, why isn't that same, criteria requirement? Why don't they suggest that when it comes to mental health? I always wondered that. That alone says that, physical health is held at a higher regard than when it comes to, our mental. And I think that should be changed. I think that's a big thing that should happen every year. When we get those notices or whatever, I think those notices should also include our mental health because it is just as important. It's just as important. A lot of things that you have going on with you and, you're wondering, what's going on? You're trying everything, you're doing your meditations, you're doing your yoga, you're doing all this other stuff that's suggested to you aside from, going to seek help because of that stigma that they have out there. Like I said, we've been doing much better with that stigma, but I think we can do a better job, man. We can get rid of that thing altogether. Get rid of that word of thinking that you're crazy or whatever. I mean, would you rather sit there and think that you're crazy if you do think that, or would you rather go get help and feel normal since, that's your definition of what normal is? Like I said, a lot of us, we don't know. We don't know. I can remember the first time that I realized something was wrong with me. And if you listen to the mental health awareness episode from last year, I kind of get into my story. I'm not going to do that here. But I remember speaking about it out loud when I finally said, hey, I'm tired of dealing with this. I'm tired of going through this when it came to the anxiety or whatever. It was starting to affect my everyday life. And when I finally spoke up about it, the first thing I heard was, you going to see the crazy doctor? That was the first thing I heard, was you going to see the crazy doctor? But at that point, it had gotten so bad, I didn't care what type of doctor it was. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to see the crazy doctor. Whatever you want to call it, I need relief. I need relief. And you guys don't even realize, how your quality of life will change. If you go get help, you go talk to someone. A lot of people are afraid of being on meds or whatever, You can try other alternatives outside of meds, but if it's to a point where you actually need meds, it's trial and error. You can actually go to your doctor. They may prescribe you some meds, and if they make you feel a certain type of way, like you're not yourself, you're not functioning right, you feel like a zombie or whatever, you go back and report. You say, hey, this made me feel like this. I didn't like this. And guess what? They either change your dosage to a lower or a higher dosage, or maybe change the medication altogether. It's trial and error. You have to try some things, then, come back, see if it worked, and then, go back and report. You do not have to sit there and, take some things that, may not make you feel good or, alter your state of mind. There are medications out there that can actually help you. You might be one medication away from your life just changing and you're feeling good, and that gray cloud is lifted out of your life. I know what that feels like. Trust me. I know what it feels like. Anxiety is like my best friend most of the time. I actually have some anxiety medicine that they prescribe me, and it's very low dosage, almost compared to Benadryl. So I will take it when it's time, like close time for bed. But mine is prescribed on an as-needed basis. So I might get a 30-day supply and not even take it throughout the entire year. So it kind of goes along with you, what works for you. But I think we definitely need to get that relief. We definitely need to get out there. Let's make some changes so we can be the highest versions of ourselves, because there's a you inside of you. There's a you inside of that suffering you. There's a you inside of that frustrated you. There's a you that's dying to come out, dying to live this one life that we get. Don't make me bring up those summers. We only get that one life. So imagine if you can seek help, and man, that one life could just be beautiful. That one life can just be amazing. That one thing that you say is always your problem, you're always lacking on. What if getting help is the thing that's really holding you back? You've tried everything else. And maybe that one thing that didn't change your entire quality of life. That one thing would change how you build relationships with people. You wonder, you keep pushing everybody away, and, these certain things keep happening. That could be the reason. So, we're going to get rid of that stigma. We're going to get rid of shame. We're going to get rid of whatever that thing is that's holding you back. We're going to get rid of the unknown, because most of us, we just don't know. Because we have people in our family that behave like this, and we have people around us that behave like this, and we're thinking it's normal because everyone around us behaves like this. And when it could be, everyone around you never went to seek help. So you're thinking that's normal, but there is a way out. There is a way out. There is a way to get to a better place where you're able to put your best foot forward. You may be dealing with something that's not even your fault. And things may be going on where you're thinking you're a bad person or whatever, and it could be something to help you out. Number one, I'm not making excuses. Because you still have to do the work. There are people who are aware of certain things that's going on with them, and they're still neglecting. They're still neglecting their self-care. So you still have to do the work. I know people who've been prescribed certain medications, and once they start to feel better, they stop taking them because they're like, hey, I don't need this anymore or whatever. I don't need this. I'm good. And then you see them spiral out of control, and then you see them backtrack to the way they used to be. You see their life start to suffer. Unknowingly, the medicine or whatever is what was keeping them under control. The medicine is what was giving them that balance or whatever. So, you have to do the work. You have to be mindful. You have to do the work. You are responsible for you. And like I said before, a lot of cases, you may not even need medication. Just actually speaking to someone, just going to seek a therapist and getting it out and getting someone to add definition to what you may be going through and you don't know what it is. And, there may be ways to, talk it out. They can help you reframe your mindset and your thought process to actually get through it. There are some things like that. So it's not always dire, but we have to figure it out. We have to figure out what is going on. You may be affecting your children's life. You may be affecting your children's life because you're not willing to go get that help, and your thought process and your frame of mind is just, the entire household is affected. The energy is just all wrong because, you're angry all the time, or, when you get frustrated or anxiety or something kick in, you lashing out at people. You having these states of depression, you got these depressive highs and depressive lows, and you haven't found that balance, and your family is riding that roller coaster with you. So, sometimes we have to think that far ahead, think about the generations that comes after you. I see a lot of parents, these new generations stepping up, though. I see a lot of parents when their kids are going through things, they're actually taking them to seek help. This new generation is just different altogether. It's a lot of things being done, acknowledged, and people are living more in their truth than they ever have before in the world. So it's time, especially us people, born in the 80s, 90s, and beyond in the past and all that. We got to step out because our generation was more so the generation where everything was just hidden and we just, kept it pushing and we just were trying to be strong and we were holding it all in and we were expected to be tough and all of that. Our generation pretty much lacked vulnerability. And I've been working on that myself. I think I'm doing a great job, man, when it comes to, being vulnerable, putting myself out there, being transparent, being me. And it is so freeing to say everything's not okay. It is so freeing to say I don't have all the answers. Man, do you know how free I am? Man, you become free. You become free, man. When I talk to my therapist on Mondays, it's just like she actually sees the growth of me acknowledging certain things. She always thought I was super nonchalant. And I was like, hey, you be around me. I'm not as nonchalant as you think. For those of you who know me, y'all know me, man. I can have those moments. I could be the life of the party. I could get frustrated and lash out on whoever, comes around. But I've been finding peace. I've been finding peace, and peace comes with transparency and vulnerability. I do not have all the answers. I need some help. And we have to be open to do that and open to say those things. And anybody who's listening who may be able to identify with some of the things that I'm saying, right now, I just want you to stop and say, I am not okay. I am not okay. I need help. I need to reach out to somebody. And there's so many resources around. I spoke about it before. You do not have to take who someone gives you. If you go somewhere to seek help and you get a therapist, a psychiatrist, psychologist or something, and, you're not vibing with that person, you're not feeling it. And keep going through people and keep doing your research so you find the one for you. Okay? Because when I found mine, I was like, wow, you should almost do a training course on, what it should be like to go to therapy. It's so free and it's so open. It don't feel textbook. Your textbook, like they read the stuff in the book for school and they going step by step by the book. And it feels like they're just doing their job. It feel like truly like that safe space. And, it's a little harder to be transparent because, they're all straight laced like that. Some people need that straight lace, but if you need a more relaxed environment or whatever, go seek out who you want to be your therapist. They don't get to tell you, who gets to be your therapist or your caregiver or whatever. You find that person, that's for you. I think most places take insurance or whatever. If you have insurance through your job or whatever, utilize that. Go through some people, get online, type in some doctor's name, read about them, read the reviews. I do all that. I'm going in, I probably know your birthday, who your mother is, how many siblings you have, and what you did in grade school. That's how deep I research. But, it's time. It's time we accept these things. It's time we step out here and get help. And if they're not going to make us annually, go see a therapist or whatever, I think we should do that on our own. You should do it on your own. Even if you feel like you're in a place in life where everything's good and great, hey, just do a mental check. Go see someone just to have a little mental check to make sure, hey, yeah, I'm good, I'm on the right path or whatever. It's okay. Just like we go get that heart rate check. Just like we go get the post check, we do the blood work and all that, do a mental check. Make sure everything's going good and moving well within your brain. All right? Because the more you align your physical with your mental, your spirit is going to be so great. You're going to be able to give so much more to this world. When I tell you, all those ideas and things you have that you've been holding back on, all that stuff you have going on that you've been back in the shadows and afraid to step into the forefront. Other things can be going on in your life that stops that. But a lot of the times, we do not know. It's stuff going on in your brain that you didn't know was going on. So it's time, it's time we take care of those things, man. We get one life. This is it. This is it. Okay? We're going to stop coping with substances, alcohol, and drugs and all this type of stuff that we use to cover up these wounds and cover up this trauma and cover up all these other things we have going on. You guys have triggers that you don't even know that's triggers. When I first started going to therapy years ago, I had another therapist, and I realized, I had a family member that was a trigger. That was a trigger. You may not know that. You have a person that is your trigger. You're doing good, you're doing great, and you realize you're having all these lows, and then come to find out you go speak to someone, and you realize this person's always around, you've always talked to this person, you visited this person, and you always feel a certain type of way. You can find out what your trigger is, and then you can find out how to handle that. They'll give you steps to take to get past that, to work through that or whatever. It's time. No more excuses, guys. It is time. Let's live this joyous life that we can live, because we already know negative and positive balances are a part of life. We know this. All right? We know this. Let's stop being addicted to suffering. I'm reading a book right now on that, and I probably had an episode in me coming up about that. Like the human race, we're addicted to suffering and negative things. We're so addicted to it, so we stay in those spaces and we hang on to them or whatever. When in actuality, all the tools are out there to help us move past and move ahead. All right? So let's do it, man. Let's take charge of ourselves. Take charge of our own lives. Let's have more abundant and more fruitful lives, starting with the inner work. You have to start with the inner work, the things that people can't see. Yeah, we can do all these physical creations. We have this art, and we create music, and we're doing all this, and we're writing these great papers, and we're poets, and we all this. Take care of what's inside, and oh my God, you'll see how much more beautiful the world that we reflect on the outside will be. All right? I'm not going to hold you guys long. Let's do it, man. This is the year. All right? We said take over 2024. I meant in all areas when I said that. All areas of life, we're taking over. Best, highest versions of ourselves. All right? Of course, you guys already know what to do. If you haven't done it, at Stroked, STROK'D _ the podcast, at Stroked, STROK'D _ the podcast. And of course, you know what just happened to you. You just got stroked up. Bye.